I think the Prophet TB Joshua may have offended too many persons while he was alive, and they want to take their pound of flesh. A lot of people have a lot of good things and bad things to say about you, but they are likely going to wait till you are gone. I wish this documentary was produced while he was still alive, so he would have been able to defend himself, or so that or can be able to catch up with the evidences. So these same people that testified before the BBC Africa Eye documentary were people that were convincing people years ago of the efficacy, the efficiency, the power in the man of God. We understand that religious manipulation is deeply seated in Africa and it's eating up our system. But I can tell you, there is nothing religious manipulation has done compared to what the socio-political control and manipulation of our society has not done. It is much more deadlier. We beg the BBC. We hope they don't. All right, so I just finished watching the BBC Africa Eye exclusive documentary on Prophet TB Joshua. They call it The Disciples, the Court of TB Joshua. Almost 3 hours, right, of 3 different episodes on Prophet TB Joshua, and I must say that it was really, really interesting to watch. And then, of course, the documentary had witness accounts of over 30 persons, actually, from a biological daughter of his, alleged biological daughter, disciples, close associates, pastors, workers, personal assistants, and several other persons that worked in his ministry from about 2001 to 2014, 2015, so to speak. And it was really, really exciting, right? I'm going to share with you. I would love to share videos, and I'm going to do that beneath. I can't allow you to see the videos because it's BBC exclusive interviews, and for copyright reasons, I will not be allowed to share video. But I'm going to share my own highlights of this, and follow me on this journey. You would like it, because go and watch it if you can. But just in case, I'm going to share the highlights with you, and I have about some lessons that I could share, and then as we journey through the lessons one after the other, you'll get the whole picture of the idea. And for those of you that know me, you could trust me on this. Number one, I think the Prophet TB Joshua may have offended too many persons while he was alive, and they want to take their pound of flesh, and that was very obvious from the beginning of that of the documentary. You will see that maybe he had offended a country, a society, a system, a group, or a person or persons, and then it was obvious that they needed to just take their own pound of flesh, or so to speak, react or do, and then it could have been anybody or anything. There were several instances where maybe on top of my head there are places, people and events that I could link to, but that was number one. The first lesson is that maybe I think that Prophet TB Joshua had offended too many persons with either any of his activities or lifestyle he was around, and then people needed to take their pound of flesh. That was one. Then number two, take this seriously. There are two phases of every man's life. When I mean man now, both men and women. And then the phase where you are alive and the phase where you are gone. A lot of people have a lot of good things and bad things to say about you, but they are likely going to wait till you are gone. And that's it. Because the things you hear about yourself right now while you are alive may just be little compared to the things you are going to hear while you live, whether for good or for bad. I wish this documentary was produced while he was still alive, so he would have been able to defend himself, or can be able to catch up with the evidences while he was there. But hearing from a lot of the persons talk about him, I only just wish, and of course he's not alive to defend himself, but that's there. Then the number three, it was his close associates, disciples, sons and daughters, workers, personal assistants, boys, and all that were interviewed in this documentary. If you like, keep listening to people that are around a certain system, whether they are pastors, or they are politicians, or they are CEOs, or whatever, leaders. If you keep listening to the people, these same people that testified before the BBC Africa Eye documentary were people that were convincing people years ago of the efficacy, the efficiency, the power in the man of God and in the teachings that he shares. The same people are coming out now to tell the world that everything they had said that time was directly opposite. Most of them were even white, and so they had compelling conversation I could imagine years ago. So a lot of you are listening to people, boys, girls, senior pastors, senior bishop, apostles, sons, associates, people that have personal encounter with some of these people, leaders of politicians, so to speak, and that you are using their account of defense or endorsement to judging your own life. Several persons would have been misled, permit me in quote, those years. Several persons would have been gingered to follow up that this was a good place to be. And now, those persons may not even be alive or may have had their lives wasted now, but these guys are coming to tell another story. Don't judge people based on the account of what people close to them are actually saying, because a lot of the times you'll be surprised. Number 4, the fourth reason, this will shock you. White, blacks, red, green, blue, people of all colors, they were the one giving personal account of abuse, of occultism, of fakeness, manipulation, and all that. So it means that anybody can be brainwashed, anybody can be hypnotized, anybody can be mentally controlled, anybody can be manipulated. So by the confessions we hear there, you notice some of them were hypnotized, some of them were brainwashed, they were manipulated. And so a lot of the times, some of you use certain level of elitist mentality. Oh, whites are there, professors are there, professionals are there. It is a global phenomenon. Oh, there's a media attention. Oh, the aesthetics to judging the good or the bad of a particular brand. That's a lie. From this, you cannot see that anybody, just anybody, could have been brainwashed or hypnotized. Just anybody would have been manipulated. These guys from all countries of this world, from the US, from the UK, from South Africa, from all parts of the world, he had presidents. Now, it's looking like these guys are now saying, oh, we didn't know us on us. So if you are judging a particular system, a particular brand, based on the elitist network around you, you are wrong. You may just be wrong. In short, in fact, the more of this aesthetics, the more of this scenery, the more of this situation, the more you should be wary. The more of all this, the more you should be wary. Number five. We hope, I do hope personally, that the BBC take this Africa Eye a step further and getting involved in the social, cultural, and political hemisphere of our nation, Nigeria. I'm quite impressed with the level of work put in exposing Prophet TB Joshua. I'm hoping that a lot of the billionaires, a lot of the politicians, political figures, past and present, are so exposed. We want to know exactly what's happening in Sambisa Forest. There have been several fairy tales and rumors, several folk tales. There have been several beer parlor conversations about what's happening in Plateau, in Benue, Kaduna. What is really happening? We know that the BBC has got certain level of instrumentality, tools, resources, opportunities, and professionalism to penetrate these quarters and give us reports. We understand that religious manipulation is deeply seated in Africa and it's eating up our system. But I can tell you, there is nothing religious manipulation has done compared to what the socio-political control and manipulation of our society has not done. It is much more deadlier. We beg the BBC. We hope they don't stop it, because it's looking like a ceremonial one time. Once a while you come and you show this, and they'll be looking. There are much more heavier, much more important. Don't say this is not important, but much more important problem of the African society, and especially the Nigerian state, that we require them to point their torchlight on and give us results. We want to know, why is Boko Haram not ending? Who are the sponsors of Fulani herdsmen, and why are they perpetuating this level of evil in our society? We want to know. We are seeking to know what happened to the 2023 general elections. We want to know what happened in Obiakpo local government in Rivers State in February 25 or February 26. We want to know who is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We want to know who is Peter Obi. We want to know who is Atiku Abubakar. We want to know what is happening. We want to know what the plans of this political cabal is or are against our state. We want to know if there is hope for our country, Nigeria. I do not want to believe that there is a gang up by foreign network to ensure that Nigeria doesn't grow beyond a certain pedestal because of gains and profit from the various corners. I would never believe. Because if the BBC can do this, then we believe that things can be better. But this is the next lesson. To every beautiful thing you see, there's another side. To every beautiful thing you see, there's another side. To every good thing, there is a bad side. To every white, there is a dark side. It's just a law of nature. Every sweet thing has got a bitter end or a bitter side. So, the information we share is basically on the side that we see. It's about perspective. 6 and 9 can be the same, can be different depending where you are standing. So a lot of times, what these guys are reporting are the side that they saw. A lot of us, I'm putting us now because we are not judging here. What we saw maybe have been his good side. So people will still have their opinions based on the side of him they saw. And that's life for you. The final lesson. It is not enough to take my narrative for it. It's not enough to take my own judgment, right? It's not enough to even listen to BBC or listen to that person's judgment. You have your right to your personal opinion. You have your right to your personal observation. You have your right to your personal interpretation. Just be fine. In everything you do, ensure that you are safe wherever you are. See you another time. Peace.